Okay, ladies and gentle ladies, how is it going on, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary beautiful humans? I disappeared last weekend because it was 45 degrees here. I was not having it. It's too hot, and I was just at home doing my face masks, filing my nails. I even had like a feet mask. Did you know this thing exists? You can just like wear it on your feet, and then yeah, it's pretty cool. But I got this new job with this AI company, and I'm working with English batch, English language. But they got this new batch with Arabic, and they're like, "Well, you're a native speaker of Arabic." I'm like, "Yeah." So, would you like to help us with Arabic? I'm like, "Not really, but how many people do you have? Do you really need to?" And I told them I'll work on it, but if I come across anything religious, I'm definitely avoiding that part. So eventually, we agreed that I can work on them. Not nothing crazy. But in that, I just had to go delve deeper into Arabic language. It's like, all right. So I went and found some Arabic shows on YouTube from Kuwait, where I was born, and I was kind of okay. This looks fun. Let me learn how they're speaking now. Maybe the show was a bit older. It's like 2014, 15. So it's nothing that yeah, nothing I know because I left in 2010. But eventually, I was watching the show is called Girl Friends Forever, right? So it's about these four girls who are friends from high school, and it shows their lives with their different um, homes, male partners at homes, partners, parents, guardians, and so on. So it just kind of gave me this perspective of what women actually go through in an Arabian culture. And that just kind of made me very depressed, very sad, because I just saw many women struggle just for the fact that they're being born female. And here I am transitioning and in Europe doing the transition. And I asked this question to myself before, like, would I have been okay being a cis woman in Arabia or a trans woman in the West? I said I would be a cis woman in Arabia because I wanted, I'm missing the family part. Everyone here has family, have friends, have like connections. I keep moving, so eventually I don't have deep connections with people where I live. I have friends that I am close to, and they're in different countries. That's the problem, right? So whenever we talk, it's a different time zone, or they're just, doing their thing. They're living their life like I'm living mine. It's cute. But eventually, I watch the show and then I go look for another show. And now I'm watching a third show. And I've been just deep into like a very empathetic, depressive state, thinking of like how these women's lives were just ruined, controlled based on these men that one, they're their father or their brothers even. And then I just remembered I have a sister and a brother, an older brother who's a bit more on the strict side. I never really considered this to be like a big deal, but now I think my sister actually thought this was a big deal because if she were to get married, if my sister were to get married, she needs the approval of my dad, mom, and probably my brother, older brother, right? Because you need witnesses in Arabia to get married, and you need family members to represent you to go ask for your hand from your family. So you don't just go a girl, a guy meet and then they just go get married. That doesn't work. A girl and a guy meet and then they tell their parents, hopefully their parents agree, and then they go talk to the parents talk to each other. But typically, what the show was showing how there were four different types of families. One was a religious-ish family, and this is kind of where I saw myself. The father is a praying person who works with religious people all the time, and then the older brother is not like super religious, but he's very strict, right? And whenever the dad was there, or even wasn't there, this older brother is just telling his sister, you're not allowed to leave the house. We don't have women that leave the house and hang out in the outdoors, and you cannot see your friends every single weekend, and all these strict rules. And then her father was also getting angry if she didn't follow these rules. So you would think that her father would be like, no, like, girl, go meet some friends. It's fine. Go, go, go. But no, 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 no. This didn't happen. So eventually, the second family was a woman that was poor slash adopted. In that country, poor does not mean poor like here, but still. So she was struggling. Her mother is her stepmother. She doesn't like her. She doesn't talk to her. She treats her like a maid. And then she didn't even let her get married because remember, if you want to get married, your mom and your dad have to be in agreement. And if your stepmom, which is your mom, says, no, I want this great husband for my bloodline, my daughter who I made, then you cannot really do anything about it. Cannot do anything about it. So this woman also struggled because her stepmom started kind of discriminating against her because it's not her blood, flesh and bone. So the third family is a girl who was in between. Her father is a very old man who married this very young girl, and they had her. So her mother is like literally a teenager in her 30s, like her. Her mother is even more teenager than her, which is cute. But this woman had to take care of her, this girl, high school girl, had to take care of her father because her father was very old. She was a very responsible woman. And she was also struggling because she wanted a mother. She wanted her mother to stop acting like a child. And her mother kept telling her over and over and over, I was sold to this guy because my parents were poor and I did not have a choice. When your father says, you marry a guy, you say, okay. Otherwise, they can cut you off life completely. No money, no education, no travel. All these you need the permissions of your parents to do. And I never really thought about this until recently. But the fourth girl was kind of the opposite of all of them. Both of her parents were very free, like very open minded, but her father was working all the time, so he was never home. Her mother was just kind of hanging out with her friends, going to parties and like weddings or whatever. And she was not even there. So this girl was kind of talking to boys, riding motorcycles and doing all the crazy things, being really bad at school. And all she cared about is a parent. Like, I just want a parent to tell me, and they care. So these women had the same reaction to like going out and having music, for example, or hanging out, even with just girlfriends. And when they got married, they had similar reactions, right? So one of them, the religious girl, gave her life to literally make children be God's slave, and she had like seven children, and then her husband remarried on her three different times because as a Muslim he can, and she was just like dying on the inside, just like hating her life. It was like I did everything, and God literally did this to me. God did this to me, and I am the good one. And then the one who was kind of super free did not get married because she had issues with marriage, with relationships, because her parents were never home talking. Her dad was always traveling. And yeah, so that was her life. And she struggled with relationships. The other two, the same thing. So the poor one um, became very, very smart because her parents, her bloodline was not there, so she was lost. So she had to prove herself over and over by being the smartest person, just so she could hear from her mother, "You're great, you're smart, I love you, you're awesome." But that didn't happen. That never happened. So this girl just started and became a researcher, went to college, met this very cute professor at college, a doctor in whatever science class, and they fell in love and he liked her until this guy went and asked for her hand from her family because he cannot just go marry her. And the stepmother obviously said, well, yeah, sure, but I cannot hide this from you. This is not really my daughter. She's my stepdaughter. We don't know like which bloodline she comes from. And the guy she loves, and he loves her, stopped talking to her because he knew like she's not purebred freaking dog. Like imagine this. So she had this really like depressed state where she's like, I studied, I did everything just to have some people treat me nicely. I can get the best job and make money, but still, no one would marry me because I am not of a bloodline. And then her stepmother found her a high school graduate, a really lazy child man, and she married him because that's the only thing she could do. That's the only guy that's available. And the other two, kind of the last one was um, became pretty much like her mother. So she married a guy. This guy was a bit more submissive and he was all lovey dovey, but she wanted like a man who pays and does things in the house. And this guy gave her all the love in the world, but he was not rich. And she envied her rich friend, even though her rich friend was alone. And this girl had a literal husband who tells her, I love you, and write her love notes in every part of the corner of the house, but she was not content with that, right? So eventually all these women struggled with men in different relationships or with culture, and that kind of opened my eye into like this question of would I have been okay being a cis woman in Arabia or a trans woman in Europe. And now I think I'd rather be a trans woman in Europe than a cis woman in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, Lebanon. Lebanon's a bit different. If you're a Muslim, Lebanon, right? If you're a Christian, Lebanon, but also there's still strict rules. Most of the Arabic countries, most of the Islamic countries, if you're a woman, you're born into submission and giving up for your parents to do whatever they want. So if you think for a second that you can be someone you want to be, you will pretty much be crushed by your parents, and then your parents are gonna tell the society, and the society will crush you on top of that. And then if that doesn't work, the law will crush you because your parents are the law. And this is the scary part. I'm trans. My parents, at least one of them, is hunting me down from Kuwait, wants to come bring me from Spain back to Kuwait to torture me, to do what they call those exorcism. Not lying. They want to do exorcism because the devilish is in my, I don't know where, honestly, taking over my brain. And they need to get the devil out of me and bring me back into the righteous way. It's pretty much conversion therapy with, you know, because they have to beat the devil out of you, right? So it's not like devil, just like holy water. No, no, no. In Arabia, they beat the devil. Like they literally hit you, but they're like, oh, it's not you. I'm just hitting the devil until you decide that the devil has disappeared and you're done. Like, I'm done with the hitting. The devil is gone. I'm okay. I'll do whatever you want. So they'll beat you into submission, right? That's a thing. That still happens. So my dad wants to bring me to Kuwait, do this, and then put me in jail on top of it for deciding to be to come out as a trans. He would have been okay with it. It's like, oh, you're trans? Cool. Never say that to anyone. Don't ever act on it, or we'll have consequences. So what he did, which is similar to what every freaking Arab family I know would do, is cut you off, make you poor. And luckily, I'm in Spain. I studied and I have a job. And this is what I tell every single person who's trans, who's trying to be independent. Suck it up. Suck it up, suck it up, suck it up until you have an income. Find yourself an income. And this now makes so much sense with the feminist movement. If you look at the feminist movement, all they wanted is we want our own income so that we can be free. Even when they had their own bank accounts, they would not have the opportunity to get hired if their husbands did not sign off for them. And this is in the States in the 50s and 40s, whatever, before the feminist movements. In Europe, all over the world, that was a thing. So if you think about the feminist movement, you have to think about what women actually have to go through. Many men do not know what women actually go through. I did know what women go through now in the West, but I never really knew what Arabian women go through because Arabian women, including my mother and sister, the one I could talk to, they would avoid talking to me because I'm already the enemy. They would have these like small talks with me just to be polite. But like I never had a deep conversation with my mother or my sister. They have hours of conversation, hours. And I remember like I've asked my mother for a hug when I was a teenager, like 14, 15. And my mother got scared of me asking for that. My mother is just scared of touching me or me touching her physically when I was a boy, a teenage boy. And that kind of taught me something about my mother, and I hated her for that for a very, very long time. Now I kind of understand her. I don't really blame her for many of the things, which is good, great, Freya, good job. But I don't know what she could have done. She couldn't even run away from the country. Some women can. Now, actually, my mother actually can right now because Kuwait now you could travel. But you need your husband, your father, your brother to know where you're going because they have control over your income in some sense. So if your parents know that you're running away from the country, like my parents, they will go to the bank and they will say, our woman is running away because the devil brainwashed her. And the bank will block your account as a woman. And my parents, when they knew that I'm trans, I did not tell them. When they knew I was trans, I got afraid because I have a Kuwaiti bank card. I never used it. I knew there was money in it. So I'm like, oh shit, let me go get the money before they do something dumb. And I go to the bank machine, just like an ATM machine, to try to withdraw all the money from my Kuwait account. My account was frozen, blocked. They said, call the bank. And I call the bank in Kuwait and I talk to them like, yeah, I'm in Spain. I cannot come back. Why is my account blocked? And they're like, you need to present yourself to the Ministry of Interior in Kuwait, the police. You need to go to the police. They need to talk to you. I'm like, you want me to come to Kuwait to go directly to the police? I know why. My bank account was frozen. I'm not coming back. But this is why I keep telling people you have to be financially independent to be a trans person, to be a cis woman, to be an adult feminine person, because everything around you is going to be against you and try to hold you down. So women who look for, like rich men, be careful. Girl, be careful. You would want that for a month, maybe a year. But after that, trust me, I come from money, and I'm telling you, money is not cheap. You pay for yourself for money. You will not have an identity in a rich area, rich family. People like the royal family of England, the royal family of Spain, like their daughters do not have the choice to be a singer, to be a bar owner, right? They don't have a choice. They're born into something that you have to become. And this kind of just opened my eye into Arabian lifestyle for women. Many women think, oh, it's okay because, they had to learn to adapt. I learned to adapt to live with my abuser and just say, like, oh, yeah, but he was like, he was protecting me from other men, even though he did hit me and do things to me. But at least he's the one doing it, not other people. Because if he wasn't there, only one person, imagine how many men would be doing the same thing. And that did happen because before him, I had a bunch of dudes, like every hour of the day, whenever I walk outside, and whenever I do sports, whenever I go to school. Like I literally was cornered in my school when I was in middle school, even though I looked like a boy, by this guy in my class for a whole year, every single day. He corners me when everyone leaves and asks me to touch his private parts. He grabs whatever he wants, and I did not know. Like I don't know what to do. I'm not a fighter, and I'm just like, no, no, no. And until he gets bored or he gets off, I don't know what the fuck he does. But he was physically aggressive, and this kind of where I am now, and I have these traumas with men because of all this crap that happened to me in middle school. And I would definitely understand if many women nowadays have traumas with men because, girl, I understand you, honestly. Because I've been through it. Because in the Middle East, even though I was a guy, a boy, teenage boy, the cultures do not mix. Like men hang out with men, go to school with only men teachers. Women go hang out with women and go to school with only girls, and that's life, which is kind of healthy if you think about it, because you're not gonna go to school and be abused. You're gonna be working with mostly women, and you'll be safe in some sense, but you're a property. They tell you what to do. You cannot be like, I'm a girl, I want to be a lawyer. It's like, no, no, no. Being a lawyer is a man's job. We don't let women be lawyers between men working. Girl, no. Um, but then I was, because in a group of men only, I was the girl in the group of men, and those things exist. all these very macho separatist communities of men only, women only, the men's section has a feminine girl like figure. I was that, right? So I had men literally take my hand, tell me cute things. I had men kiss me for random reasons. I had men touch me. I had men do things to me. And all I knew is it's better to just let it happen quick instead of fight it, because there was physical altercations in a couple of times. And when I come to Europe and I hear people to the West and I hear people tell me, like, you're trans, you don't know what women go through. I'm like, yeah, girl, you don't even know what I've been through, because you're in Europe. You probably haven't even been at half of the things that happened through. But yeah, this topic makes me so emotional. It's very very sad for me watching all these women stuck there, including my sister. Like, I have a high respect for my sister. My sister is not your typical girly girl, right? She's a boss woman. She's a woman, you know, and they crushed her soul. They crushed her. They crushed her to submission. Literally crushed her to submission. Not my parents. The society crushed her into submission. Because my parents were like, okay, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Sure. You want to be strong. You want to be cool, cool, cool. Let's see how far this goes. She waited until she was 30, a virgin until 30. And then she started calming down. And she's like, I just need to get married and get out of my parents' house. She can never live alone as a woman not married. Think about that, right? It's a messed up world. It's a very very messed up world, and I feel pretty lucky, even though I'm trans or whatever, whatever, and I'm like having a hard time with relationships or whatever. But mostly it's personal stuff. I could definitely get to have sex if I want to. Um, but yeah, it's like the family scenario, the connection scenario. It's pretty hectic, and I think many Arabian slash Muslim women, in even in Europe or in the West, decide to suck it up and take all those because of family. Would you lose your family? Everyone's like, yeah, I'll lose my family. For like many people would not even think about it. You don't even understand how lonely it becomes if you don't have a family. I don't have a family. I walk outside alone. I move from country to country because you never know what happens, and I have to move. But eventually, I'm trying to make friends. But the same thing, my friends have family, so eventually, you're alone. I train myself mentally to be okay and liking myself. I take myself out. I put myself in really cute clothes and I get really pretty and I do my hair. Not for a man. It's not for a man. I do it for me because I want to see me cute. I want to see me and have fun with my company. I want to see me as a beautiful person. So I take myself out on dates. I take myself out to museums. I take myself out to concerts. I'll never cheap out for what I want, but I'm also a very simple person. I'm actually not a person who you need to spend money on. I'm very lazy at this point. I think estrogen changed me, made me pretty lazy. But also, I'm not a foodie. Like, you would not find me hangry in any sense. Um, and I like simple things. I like music. If you play an instrument, I'm gone. I don't need you to go buy me things. I've literally dated a woman, so-called woman. She was pretty much a guy. And like, she was working. I was at home, working at home, taking care of the dog, cleaning the house, and whatever. And she was a messy person. She's like, and I talked to her a couple of times. I'm like, I'm not here to clean after you. Like, I would do the cleaning. I work from home, sure, but I'm not here to be your babysitter. And I understand this because most women deal with this with men. This is why I say this woman is pretty much a man. Eventually, um, I forgot what this was. This woman was pretty messy, and she asked me out on a date, and she actually treated me pretty much like a girl. She was always escaping the conversation about the problems, and I told her a couple of times, like, oh, we need to talk, we need to talk. And she was like, yeah, you always need to talk. There's always something. She acted like a freaking guy. She acted like a guy. And this is, I think, why I liked her. Because at the time I was presenting myself as a guy and I liked them a bit more about masculine energy. And yeah, she gave me that masculine energy, but she was very bossy. And she was not fair with me. And I walked out of the relationship. Like, she actually hit me, literally. Um, so it exists. ladies and gentlemen and trans people, non-binary people, um, be careful. If you are starting your transition, if you're young, I'm saying find yourself some financial independence. Otherwise, they have you on a leash. It doesn't matter which country you're from. It's probably in the West, it's easier to get a job even if you don't have your parents' approval. If you're in Arabia, I don't know what to tell you, honey. I don't know what to tell you. In Kuwait, women can travel. Just go tell them if you can travel alone, do it, but tell them you're traveling with your friends. So talk to your friend, at least one of them, and let her send you an audio message to send to your mom or your dad, at least just to make them, calm if they're that open of a family. And go, and once you get to the foreign country, go to the police at the airport and tell them, I'm seeking asylum. I cannot be home. I'm afraid for my life because they can't help you. You just do not know how, right? And you need to go do that whenever you get to the country. But even there in that country, you're going to have to struggle because mostly if you come from an Arabian country, your degree doesn't mean anything to them. Nothing. So you're going to have to take really weird jobs or shitty jobs and just kind of push through. But it will work. My situation was different. I got my degree from the US. And going to any country in the world, a US degree is a desirable degree. And now I have a master's in Barcelona, from Barcelona, and I'm doing a PhD in Spain, and that's only going to be available. So I'm just going to be able to work in Spain or in the what do you call it, Latin America. But financial independence is freaking important. I never really thought about it, but poor women of Arabia, honestly, I feel bad for you. I wish you the best. I wish I could help you in any way possible. I really do not know what to do. Um, yeah, it just takes a toll on me just thinking about many of you being stuck there. And then imagine women in Afghanistan. That's even worse. And then, yeah, in the West, people talk about um, immigration being a problem. It's like, yeah, because all you're getting, if you have illegal immigrants in Europe at least, most of you're getting are the men who can leave their country. You cannot just let that happen. You should let every single country have a women's center or a queer whatever center where women can go ask for help in their country because many of these women cannot even leave their country. That's why you only see men coming, usually like very young men in their 20s or 30s, because they can leave. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll see y'all later.